from the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the CyberHub Podcast, your latest news in cybersecurity from the practitioner point of view. I'm not trying to get this into the whole, what ifs and all this. Straight, what's going on? How do practitioners see it? And then how do we address it? How do we deal with the news we're seeing? All of that is really, really important, folks. So good morning. Welcome to today's show. I hope everyone's having a wonderful start to this week. This week, a very long week. Next week, a very short week. We won't have a show Monday because it's Memorial Day. And we'll all be bowing our heads. We may do a Memorial Day special and share some stories, bring on some vets to talk about some of the brave men and women who've made the ultimate sacrifice in some of those families that look at Memorial Day not as a day to, the start of summer or anything else. It's a day where they feel the strongest pain of the year, where they are remembering their loved ones. So keeping that in mind. So just very cool. We're also on episode 497 today. So episode 500 is just right around the corner next week. So we'll be doing a special 500 episode of the practitioner brief. So it'll be really, really cool. So before we get started in today's show, though, my amazing double espresso. What are you drinking? Some of you guys always put it in the notes, but some don't. Why not? Are you not drinking anything? Maybe even water. Just water. Water's good. Water's great. But my double espresso coffee cup. Cheers. All right. Let's get into what's going on in the news today, where a popular PyPI and PHP libraries have been hijacked to steal AWS key. The PyPI module CTX that gets downloaded over 20,000 times a week has been compromised in a software supply chain attack with malicious versions stealing the developer's environment variables. This is critical, and it's why it's my lead-off story. Software supply chain is the big threat vector. It's where we're going to see a whole lot of investment by threat actors into how they can get into different environments, especially as you stage different environments. So now we're watching the stealing of Amazon AWS keys and credentials. They're collecting secrets. Additionally, versions of the PHP ASS fork published at a PHP Composer package repository packages has been altered to steal secrets in a similar fashion. PHP ASS framework has incurred over 2.5 million downloads on the package's repository over its lifetime, although the downloads for malicious versions are believed to be far more limited. Heavily downloaded PyPI package CTX has been compromised. With the new version, CTX is a minimal Python module that lets developers manipulate their dictionary objects in a variety of ways. It's extremely, extremely popular. So this was reported on Reddit and Twitter. It's then escalated. Now it's been verified. It does steal. So a few things. If you were a victim of this, one, refresh your AWS keys right away. That's not even a contention here. Impacted or not, change it if you're using it. You don't know how far and how deep this goes. You don't know what's been happening since they've done it. So something really important to do, update all of your keys, make sure your AWS environment is secure. I'd even do a password reset for all your IAM users. Microsoft's warning that web skimmers are mimicking Google Analytics and Meta Pixel code. According to Microsoft, threat actors behind web skimming campaigns are leveraging malicious JavaScript code that mimics Google Analytics and Meta Pixel scripts in an attempt to sidestep detection. It's a shift from earlier tactics where attackers conspicuously injected malicious scripts into e-commerce platforms and CMSs via vulnerability exploitations, making this threat highly evasive to traditional security solutions, according to Microsoft. Skimming attacks such as the Mac cart, which we've talked about significantly, typically always around the fourth quarter of the year, right before the holidays, of goal harvesting and exporting user payment information like credit card details. Now we're seeing them manipulate code and using kind of a similar to Google Analytics or Meta type of Java code in the headers there to do their dirty work, something to keep in mind. Now, for all you practitioners, researchers are spotting fake proof of concept exploits that appear to have been created by threat actors to deliver malware to members of our very own community. This is the opening shot in what I like to call the battle of the security experts. On May 19th, researchers reported that GitHub was hosting malicious software disguised as a POC exploit for a couple of Windows vulnerabilities that Microsoft fixed with its April 2022 Patch Tuesday update. The POCs claim to target CVE 2022-24500, 26809er, both of which can be exploited for remote code execution on Windows system. While there is no indication that the flaws have been leveraged in attacks, some cybersecurity companies did warn that they could pose a serious risk. 26809er, for instance, is believed to be wormable. The fake POCs, which appear to have been created by the same threat actor, were a .NET binaries packed with open source application protector named Confuser EX. When executed, they displayed a fake message apparently showing a failed attempt to exploit either one of those CVEs. After executing these routines, the files ran a hidden PowerShell command that delivered the Cobalt Strike Beacon payload, which can be used to download additional malware and used for lateral movement, specifically targeting cybersecurity experts. So, shot has been taken by this threat actor, and now our community will respond in kind. I am sure of it. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Conti ransomware operations shut down after splitting into smaller groups. Even as the operators of Conti threatened to overthrow the Costa Rican government, the notorious cybercrime gang officially took down their infrastructure in favor of migrating their criminal activities to other ancillary operations, including Karakurt and Black Byte. From the negotiation site chat room messengers to servers and proxy hosts, the Conti brand, not the organization itself, is shutting down. However, this doesn't mean that the threat actor themselves are not retiring. The voluntary termination, with the exception of its name and shame blog, is said to have occurred on May 19th, while an organization rejig was happening simultaneously to ensure a smooth transition of the ransomware group members. Every time we see a story of a ransomware group being taken down or shutting down, we kind of smile and celebrate. Don't. They're typically going to go into splinter groups, and it's kind of like, when you took down Pablo Escobar, you thought you were going to get rid of all the cocaine coming out of Colombia. All you did is you created, instead of one massive organizations, now you've got dozens. And they're at war with each other, fighting for territory and smuggling routes and whatnot. And you've just made it worse. The same here. We don't learn in the way we fight crime. We don't learn in the way we address crime. We kind of been doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. And with these types of cybercrime organizations, there's a whole lot that we can do to ensure that they don't go down this path, if only we put our heads to it. Unfortunately, here we write about it, we talk about it, but we're not really seeing it. What you're going to see now is a lot more threat actors. You're going to see a whole lot more where they're going to take the Conti base and revamp it, redo it, and we're going to be dealing with a whole lot more noise. We're not any safer from these news. In fact, I think the world just got a bit more dangerous for us, and we're going to have to spend a little bit more to ensure our security in our organizations going forth. The Justice Department is softening its enforcement of hacking laws in good faith cases. So the 1986 Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, the CFAA, is getting a little change. This was first announced on Thursday of last week and reported by Bloomberg. The DOJ will amend its charging policy to explicitly discourage after so-called good faith or ethical security researchers. Computer security research is a key driver of improved cybersecurity, according to Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco said in a statement accompanying the revamped policy. About time the Justice Department actually goes through and updates the laws to ensure that the good faith cybersecurity researchers, the ones that really are trying to do good, are able to do so. Ethical researchers who scour for and discover software vulnerability could still face prosecution under some existing state laws or could be sued in a court of law. So that's still not there. The law definitely needs to be updated. But Jen Easterly, obviously, looking at this and going, that's great. Hopefully this will improve a little bit of our cybersecurity posture, but we're still dealing with a whole lot of things going on here, and including that the state could still sue you for it, even though the federal government does not. So that doesn't exactly give you peace of mind. The states need to, and we need to be targeting at the state level now in the states to get these laws changed. And finally, the U.S. sets up a multi-agency initiative to curb ransomware. This new agency will be headed by CISO and the FBI, as well as 2 international initiatives chaired by the DOJ to tackle illegal cryptocurrency activity related to ransomware. The announcement was made at the Institute for Security and Technology event, celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Ransomware Task Force that was created last year. The task force compromises industry, government, and civil society members to counter ransomware threat. It was established by the DOJ in March of last year. The Joint Task Force was set up under the guidance of the Cyber Incident Reporting for Critical Infrastructure Act of 2022, an omnibus spending bill passed last month. The bill required CISO to launch a program that would coordinate federal efforts to warn organizations of vulnerability that ransomware actors could likely exploit. So a really big move there, obviously, and something that's very exciting going on. Again, I think these are going to be critical changes within our law enforcement infrastructure for private-public partnerships, and those are going to be critical to improving cybersecurity posture along. So it's good to see those changes coming from the government point of view. Like it or don't like it, from a cybersecurity perspective, this administration's been hands down making some real logical changes and picking the right leaders for some of these positions to really push these things through. Folks, that's it for our show today. We'll be back with a lot more tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your day and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.